Over the years, Gumball's voice has changed a lot, starting out super young and ending up way older sounding. And while it might seem just like the case of an actor growing up, the real story is a lot darker than that. So, to understand why Gumball's voice doesn't sound like it used to, we have to go back to the show's first episode. Gumball has always sounded young and enthusiastic, but this was especially the case in the first few seasons. And that's all because of his voice actor, Logan Grove. Logan voiced him all the way from the first episode, the DVD, up until season 3. In the episode The Kids, his performance really brought out Gumball's fun and mischievous personality, but what made it stand out even more was how well he handled the emotional scenes. Whether Gumball was being over-the-top dramatic, being honest, or committing war crimes, Logan's voice always fit the moment, showing why he was picked as the voice of Gumball. We are responsible for the future generation. We make the children. That will become the world of tomorrow. Logan's standout performance earned him a BTVA Voice Acting Award for the Best Vocal Performance by a Child. He was also nominated for an Annie Award for his work in television production, and while Logan was happy with all the spotlight and joy it was bringing to him, a major issue was slowly developing at the same time. When season 2 came around, Logan's voice had started to change as he hit puberty. In the earlier episodes, his voice had that ideal childlike tone. But as the season went on, the change became more and more obvious, and unfortunately, it was clear that his voice was starting to sound too old for Gumball. Come on, let's try it again. We enjoy it while we can. By the time season 3 started airing, the team was forced to start looking into a replacement for Logan, since his voice really just didn't fit the character anymore. And for that, they needed someone perfect. Someone who could capture everything we loved about Logan's version of Gumball, while also bringing their own unique twist to the character. That's where Gumball's third voice actor comes into play, Jacob Hopkins. And I say third because Gumball actually had another voice actor that voiced the character before Logan did. But he only voiced the character for the unaired pilot, meaning no one ever heard him play Gumball on TV. And since, unlike the first actor who played Gumball, the show had to be careful when changing the character's voice, which they did in the most Gumball way possible. In the episode The Kids, Gumball and Darwin's voices suddenly drop and become super deep, making them realize that they're starting to grow up. They try to brush it off and go about their day, but the new voice ends up causing all kinds of problems. And just when they finally start to accept the change, their voices randomly switch back and they find out they can actually stay kids forever. At first, it sounds awesome, until they realize they're literally gonna be young forever. The episode wraps up with them awkwardly trying to laugh it off. At which point, the voices had to be changed for new actors. This episode was a clever way of addressing the fact that Logan and Kwesi, the voice actors for Gumball and Darwin, have both gone through puberty, which changed how Gumball and Darwin sounded. Rather than just swapping out the voices behind the scenes, the creators chose to make it a part of the show. They used the episode as a way to introduce the new voice actors, while also giving a proper send-off to the originals. Logan and Kwesi have been with these characters for a long time, so being replaced probably wasn't the easiest thing to accept. But in this episode, they were able to part ways with their characters in a meaningful way to look ahead to new opportunities in their careers. After that episode, Jacob Hopkins officially became Gumball's new voice actor, voicing him all the way up until season 5, episode 12. The Copycats. Before landing the role of Gumball, Jacob had already been building a solid acting career, with some pretty notable roles at a very young age. One of his first big roles was playing Alexander Drew on HBO's True Blood, where he got to show his skills in a more serious and dramatic role. He also appeared on the sitcom The Goldbergs, playing a character named Chad Kremp in several episodes over a few seasons, and he obviously needed to be a good voice actor for that, since by this point, Gumball was a massive hit. But apart from being a good voice actor, his voice also needed to sound similar to the old Gumball as much as possible. When he took over in season 3, he brought a whole new energy to the character, while keeping his goofy charm and all-around wild personality. Okay, let's see what's going on in there. Oh my gosh, there's 2 of them and they're kissing. His take on the role kept the character just as fun and lovable as ever, and it quickly became one of the parts people best knew him for, especially during his time playing Gumball, because In interviews, his normal voice sounded exactly like his voice for Gumball. If someone was to meet him in real life and know about Gumball, they would realize that they're basically talking to Gumball. Jacob was pretty much one with the character. I also like to play lots of sports, taekwondo, spend time with my family, video games, Nintendo, for all those Nintendo fans out there. For Jacob, playing Gumball was a dream come true. As he watched the show way before he was ever cast for the voice of Gumball, he knew the character inside and out. He understood Gumball's humor, energy, and personality, which made it super easy for him to take over the role and make it his own. When he did get the part, he said he would pull up an episode of Gumball, mute it, and voice over him as a way. To practice, it came very natural for him, almost like he'd been preparing without even realizing. But like many voice actors, Jacob eventually hit that unavoidable moment. His voice started to change, and just like Logan, as he got older, it became harder to match Gumball's younger, high-pitched tone. So once again, the showrunners made the tough decision to recast the role with Nicholas Cantu, and they had to do it once again in the most Gumball way possible by making it into an episode, of course. In Jacob's final episode, The Copycats. After dealing with their copycats versions, Gumball and Darwin say they're irreplaceable. But mid-sentence, they suddenly glitch and their voices change out of nowhere. This wasn't just a random glitch, though. This was the moment Nicholas Cantu took over as the voice of Gumball, and Terrell Ransom Jr. also stepped in as Darwin. It makes use of the situation instead of quietly switching the characters' voices behind the scenes. Nicholas Cantu voiced Gumball all the way up until the very last episode in Season 6 titled The Inquisition, but Gumball wasn't his first role either, since at just 12 years old, he got his start in the industry with a voice appearance as Diego in a 2016 episode of Dora and Friends. Not long after, he made a quick leap into leading roles, voicing Rowan Freemaker in LEGO Star Wars: The Freemaker Adventures. For a 12-year-old, this was a pretty good start to begin his acting career. However, it wasn't until his role as Gumball where he found massive success. He was able to take Jacob's place as the voice of Gumball and improve upon it in many ways. And one of these was with his singing. One of the things that the Amazing World of Gumball was well known for before this was his songs. One of the most popular songs being Be Your Own You from the Copycats. Be your own you, be your own you. Don't do what I do, just be your own you. And one of Nicholas Cantu's best music performances in the show easily, hands down, has to be Goodbye. Goodbye. My face will be too mangled to identify. This performance alone just shows how much emotion and depth he really brought to Gumball, not just through his dialogue, but through music too. And honestly, while all the voice actors who've played Gumball brought something unique to the table, Nicholas' performance in Goodbye really makes him stand out as the best singer to ever voice the character. Now, if you feel like you've heard of Nicholas Cantu before, even outside of Gumball, you probably have. He used to be a YouTuber. He made videos under the name Junkie Janker and did a bit of everything. Vlogs, Q&A, commentary, you name it. He also played in a bunch of Minecraft Monday events with popular YouTubers such as Technoblade, MrBeast, James Charles, and so much more. However, his YouTube career would come to an end in 2023 when he got into drama with another popular Minecraft YouTuber, Dream. However, since then he's made a comeback and has a new YouTube channel called The Cantu Network. Nicholas Cantu ended up staying the voice of Gumball until Season 6, where the series ended on a cliffhanger. There is a Season 7 in the works with a new trailer that just came out called The Wonderfully Weird World of Gumball, but I don't think Nicholas Cantu is going to continue his role of Gumball for a multitude of reasons, with one of them being that his voice has gotten a lot deeper, and the last season was in 2019, nearly 7 years ago. And now he's a full-grown adult. Unless we get an Adult Swim version of Gumball, I doubt he'll continue to play the character. See him as the role of Gumball in Season 7, or maybe the movie that's supposedly going to release this year. So keep an eye out for that, and we'll see how far he can take it. Supposedly going to release this year, so keep an eye out for that. And we'll see how far he can take his role as Gumball. Quick update, as I was recording this video, a new voice actor got casted to voice Gumball and Darwin for Season 7, which is now called The Wonderfully Weird World of Gumball. Alkiethiel and Hero Hunter will be the new voices of Gumball and Darwin. And they sounded pretty good in the trailer we just got. So I'm super excited to see how the voices of these characters will continue. And what I'm also excited about is to keep making these videos for you guys. So if you want to see more, subscribe. That was a threat. You better subscribe. Subscribe. Please subscribe. Please subscribe.